Hey everyone, Tristan here. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. So please make sure that you share my videos with your friends, subscribe, like, and comment. And hit that notification bell in the corner. And thank you very much. Anyway, roll it. Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. And in today's video we're going to talk about neighborhood speeding incident. We're going to talk about this whole, with the Facebook uproar, with the road rage fight. We're going to talk about that today. So we're going to talk about that today, and, because the reason why I have to redo it is because there was someone who was in the video who we cannot mention, so I'm going to redo this one and get it in, get it resaid, and then we're going to go on and so forth. So let me explain this. Beginning, what happened? How did this start? Where did this start? Okay, so I lived in my neighborhood in Virginia Beach for at least about 7 years. And, there has always been speeding because the speed limit is 15 miles an hour. It's not 25 like most neighborhoods because of how dangerous the blind spots are and how dangerous it is with kids running around. So they put up 15 miles an hour. Well, apparently that needs to be dropped to 10 miles an hour, or maybe 5 miles an hour, because there was a huge altercation that happened, and I am going to go in details with this. So starting off, it was back in, the very first incident with this was in June of 2020. This one day we were, just sitting, I was inside and I hear somebody screaming outside saying, you hit me, and I hear a huge thing going on. So then I go and look out my window and I look out the front and I see there's a huge brawl of people outside. So what I did was I had just walked out, and I noticed that somebody was out there. Now I can't go into specifics on who this person is, so we're going to leave this person out. But anyway, so there's this person out there getting into a fight, and they're out there getting into a fight, and they look like they're about to hit somebody. So I go, tell my mom, hey, there's a fight going on outside. She goes out, and she goes and confronts them. And so this is what you guys are going to see. So let's discuss the whole story of this. So here is what apparently happened. While there was a guy who was walking his dogs, who was walking in the street right in front of our house, um, there was these people in a Hyundai accent. What they did was they pulled fast. They were speeding, apparently. And somebody had yelled at them to slow down. Well, then apparently what happened was they went and looped around, sped past another group of kids, and pulled right back around, and they got out of the car and they confronted the guy who told them to slow down. Well, then that tall dude in the red shirt, I think his name is Austin, I think it is, he came up to the he came up to the he went and ran down the street and went after them and got up in his face, and that's when the guy in the red, not the tall dude but the other dude, decked him right in his face and punched him right in his face. So what ended up happening was, that's when that happened, and somebody else went and witnessed the whole thing and confronted him. It was like, oh, you don't hit people like that. And then apparently, while all this was going on, there was a woman who was in the car, and somebody said, "Shut the F up, B word." And so then the woman's like, "Don't you call my daughter a B word." And and that's how like all that happened and everything. He's like, "Oh, I didn't call your daughter the B word," and all that stuff. So then what ended up happening was they're about ready to get into a fight. I went out there, told my mom, and they were able to defuse it. Then, short while later, that was not all to the video footage. I had to cut some of it out because it required somebody who I cannot show in the video. So, yeah, so that's what I did. Now, there was also after footage of that. Once again, I can't share that with you guys because it, once again, shows this person. Pretty much all it shows is the aftermath, with the police showing up and this person going around talking about it. That's pretty much all it is. And it's really nothing really important. I mean, I have it on my Instagram, IGTV, but that's pretty much where it's staying. I put it in one of my videos, but I can't release that. So, yeah. So with that being said, um, they got in a huge fight. The police ended up showing up. Three cop cars showed up, and they had gotten down statements. Now the guy who was initially assaulted, the tall dude that was assaulted, um, he left the scene. So if he wanted to press charges or give a statement, he wouldn't be able to do that because he left the scene. Otherwise, had he been there and he gave a statement, then that guy in the red would have been charged with battery. So what they decided to do was everybody walked away, and that pretty much was the end of it. And that pretty much was the end of it, and the police left. And let me tell you, the police came with lights and sirens on. That's what happened. So then what happened is, that was diffused, and that was now. Let me explain my involvement. In this story. The reason why I got involved was because of the fight that had happened. I had to get involved because of the fight that that happened. And, I had to get involved. So I got involved because I wanted to record it in case something happened, and sure enough it did. But let me explain to you what. So remember the tall dude when he was saying, "Did you catch him hitting me in the face?" I didn't catch him hitting that guy in the face because I did not witness it. But yeah, and just future reference, when you are filming somebody in public, keep in mind you're putting yourself in that situation. So don't necessarily film people in public when this stuff happens. Kind of be discreet about it. Otherwise, they would see. Because not a lot of people take kindly to that. And after that, that tall dude was being more friendly to me because he apparently had record. He apparently noticed it. But yeah, he never said anything about the recording. He never did any of that. But yeah. So that was the.
Yeah, because you gotta say, see that house right there in the corner? I live right there. You know how many people I see speed down, especially when I have my kids playing? Yeah, and guess what? I still speak up. I'm not going to. And they see like I'm speeding because I'm in the car and you're walking. So I'm not speeding. Okay. I'm very much aware. Alright, and first off, I wasn't even yelling at you, trying to say, hey, slow down, okay? And you want to try to get an argument with me, go ahead, because I'm not going to argue. But everybody in this neighborhood is going crazy for something. And it's never what I don't know. I don't even know what that's about. All I know is I wasn't speeding. Okay, let's see you go home. Please, go. We have too many little kids around here, and too many people being speed. Okay, well, you're technically in my driveway, so... Me too. One minute your buddies, the next minute you're the enemy. I don't get it. I know. I really don't. People over-exaggerate. Huh? People over-exaggerate. Yeah. I don't.
Welcome back. So anyway, so we have a talk today. Okay, so now I've talked about the fight, the whole road rage incident fight, speeding fight. Well, then there was a second incident that involved us. So here's what happened. So my mom was, it's pretty self-explanatory. My mom was traveling down the street, and we were with family and friends. And apparently some guy got out of his truck and had said, and had yelled at her to slow down. So she goes and parks, and she goes and confronts him. And she goes and confronts him, okay? And then they get into some whole fight and everything, and it just was completely uncalled for. Like, that was, like, completely uncalled for. There's no reason why they had to talk to her like that. I mean, it's like they're basically, like, this mindset where, okay, I don't care if you did it or not, you still did it. That's their logic. That's their mindset. So I was pretty upset because, there's no reason for them to talk to her like that. I mean, they have no evidence that she was speeding. I mean, what now? They're now traffic cops now? They're now gonna, I mean, they are just completely unreasonable. I mean, I understand that they have little kids and stuff and they want to make sure they're safe. But the thing is, they're yelling at somebody who isn't doing anything wrong, you know? And so then what happened was later down the line, there was a post made about it in August of 2020 where someone said, please slow, blah, 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 blah. So then this guy named Carlitos Rivera, Rivera, had said, I'm with you, Joe. Last time I told someone to slow down, they got all upset and was saying they weren't going more than 20 miles an hour. The speed limit, there's no such thing as 5 over. Okay, now listen, most people go 5 over the speed limit. Not everybody goes the speed limit. I mean, if you're one of those people that goes speed limit, people are going to be passing you left or right because generally, most people go 5 over. They don't necessarily go the actual speed limit. But if they're going 10 over, then they are technically speeding. And yes, you can be pulled over for that. But if you're going 5 over, it's not that big of a deal. Because most people, they go 5 over. Most people go 5 over. I mean, that's just the way it works. I mean, if they don't like this limit, then they can bring it down to 10 miles an hour, and people who are going 20 miles an hour can get pulled over and get tickets. You know what I mean? I mean, they're complaining about the speed limit being 15 miles an hour. Yet there are neighborhoods that are 25 miles an hour. 25. And people in that range typically go from 30 to 35, even 40 on those roads. Okay? Sometimes they would go 35, sometimes they would go 30. You have to be going the limit. I mean, they complain about that when they complain about being 15 miles an hour. If they don't like it, why don't they just go and just, you know, go down to the Virginia DOT and say, hey, can you bring the speed limit down by another 5 miles an hour? Because we got tons of kids in this neighborhood. All they got to do, you know? That neighborhood is equivalent to a parking lot. My mom reacts and says, roadways are for motorized vehicles and pedestrians to cross, not for children to play on. You choose to allow your child to play in the street, you suffer the consequence. The responsibility is yours. Stop trying to make the rest of the world adhere to your lack of parenting or ability to provide a safe play area for your child. Now, I'm not advocating speeding by any means, but yelling at someone for something can be avoided. But it's even unfair, in my opinion. We all have backyards. I'm tired of hypocrisy. It then says no right to attack someone's parenting who do not know me or anyone else. Neighbors, for starters, my children are not just playing outside in the street. My youngest is now turning 1, and my oldest is never outside with me ever. She's 4. I live on the very front neighborhood, and for that reason, I feel it's not even safe for my children to be in our front yard. However, we do walk our dogs, go on bike rides, and run/walk. We live in a rather small residential community without sidewalks. Whether you agree with it or not, there will always be children. So then she follows by young ones with parents and older ones without. We should all be able to run, walk our dogs, ride our bikes without having to worry about someone speeding and hitting us or our children. And yes, we all have backyards, but some are barely a yard. I do stand by my comment earlier, though. The speed limit is the speed limit, plain and simple. It's a residential neighborhood. Slow down. Also, belittling some and their education on a page or post is uncalled for. My stance will not change on either matter. Wilcox says, so our children shouldn't be riding their bikes or playing. Lovely neighborhood we moved into. I am also always out with my children. Honestly, I was hoping to move into a neighborhood where we looked out for one another. I guess that would. Canine cop's wife says, your son rides his bike around the neighborhood all the time. How would you feel if one of these speeders hit him? We've actually prevented your son from being hit before, so instead of calling out people for their parenting, maybe you should thank us for saving your son's life. Okay, they did not save my life. I talked about it in my Canine Cop video. If you guys didn't check that out, go and check it out. It's the virtual lecture one that I uploaded a few days ago. Okay, so they're saying that they saved my life. They did not save my life. The only time that there was an actual speeder that I came across and they had came across at that moment was when there was a car who was trying to get around me and they were back down the street and they couldn't get around me. So I was nice enough to stop over on the side and wave them through. You know what I mean? I was there to wave them through. And to wave, to wave them through. Well, then the canine cop just stops in his tracks and just stares me down as I'm there waving my hand to let someone pass. He's standing there like it's a big deal. I mean, all I was doing was just waving this car to go past me, which it was my mistake. I didn't know that they were actually there. I thought that they were behind me, but they weren't. So I went and just waved them across. So I was waving my hand practically for nothing. Well, then, the car passes me, okay, I start going. Well, then, apparently, sorry about that. So then what I do is they then the cop goes and yells at the car to slow down when they weren't even speeding, in my opinion. And yeah, that's a whole story. If you guys want to check it out, it's in the Canon Cop video. But anyway, let's. Well, then there's a comment that was made about we're going to discuss. Are we going to discuss you're driving while intoxicated? Shaky head. Okay, so this is like what I was talking about before with the whole confrontation thing. She was not drinking that day. She was not drunk at all. This woman here is a complete waste of space, I guess you can say. I mean, she's going to not only attack me, but she's going to attack Mom, and vice versa. This person's attacking my mom, and they make a comment about me. And this is where it gets out of hand. I mean, there's no reason for somebody to go on a public Facebook page and do that. That's just big no-nos of social media. I mean, you never go on a social media page and talk crap about your neighbors when literally, if you had a problem with it, you can just go talk to them yourself. Coward behind a keyboard. Yet they're going to call someone else a coward behind a keyboard. She said, an accusation you do not want to make. Because, yeah, that is defamation of character. Now, if I stop. Then she says, I'm not stupid, don't you dare threaten me. And then she said, accuse me of anything unlawful is defamation of character. And then she said, you're going to chastity, I don't know how to say that word, the parents of this neighborhood when you're the first and pretty much only conversation with me is telling me that your son is autistic, likes to ride his bike, and he doesn't bother anybody. I get it. So I've been watchful over your son since that very moment. It's sad to realize that not all parents in this neighborhood would do the same for each other's children. You are a hypocrite, and you've made that clear with your actions and your words on here. Okay, so they're gonna call. Okay, so yeah, that was a little bit ridiculous. I mean, why would you say that? I mean, some people are not believing that it's appropriate to say something about someone else's, disability. That there is just above and beyond. Because not only that, this woman here, this Gina McAuliffe Ralston, is a school teacher. Okay, she works with children. And she probably has special needs children in her class. And she's going to talk like that. I think that she should lose her job. I think that she should lose her job. Because why would a teacher talk like that? You know what? You're saying that that's a reason to attack somebody? She's going to lose her job. But, you need to remember you don't have the right to tell me what I can and cannot do. You're in a public forum out of nowhere, you accuse me of something awful and unfounded, and you want to get on your high horse and say something to me about hypocrisy. Mind your own business. It's apparent to me that's the type of person you are. Which, yeah, type of person that she is. So then she says, keep your drunk ass out of my driveway. Then she says, I don't have the right, I'm sorry. You begin with telling parents what to do. To remember how close our houses are and remember that your fence is not soundproof. And then she says, I'm not drunk. It's HOA property from the middle to the street. Comes to safety and the kids in this neighborhood, I am going to be all up in it. Good observation. I am legally deaf, people. If it's anyone's business, I am a loud talker, and as is my family, so I can hear them. Any questions about anyone wants, you know where I live. Need to read again. Don't be a hater. Good night. Well then, Kara Wilcox says, let's get back to slowing everybody down when driving. Telling me I should face the consequences if my child is out playing in the street, even with me outside, tells me there's an intent. It's hard not to slow down for each other and take care of each other. Okay, so then here comes Kelly Humphrey. Now, this lady here, Kelly Humphrey, is an absolute Karen. Absolute Karen. I mean, all of these people are Karens. Absolute, 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 absolute Karens. So she says, wait, this chick is saying no one can tell her what to do. Not bam. You can't run over children. Sorry, hashtag selfish. Plus, you say you're deaf and people should accommodate your loud speaking and the way you choose to live. But you can't show the same respect for your neighbors. Selfish. Okay. And then it said, I was waiting. Now, this here, okay, is a part of a post that was made. Now, this is irrelevant to the actual story. This is irrelevant to the story. This here is irrelevant because this actually happened. There was a There was a post that was made here, and I'm gonna not move my cursor so that way that doesn't happen again. But anyway, so Chelsea Jarvis says, I was waiting at the bus stop for my child to get off the bus. And not so long ago, all the children were coming off, and the bus was and running excitedly to their parents. Car was speeding, and he stopped after we were all screaming and jumping in his car. He literally stopped inches from a child. According to your logic, that mother should just have to deal with losing her son because they were not meant to be on the absolute. You should be disgusted with yourself and say such a ignorant thing. People are bad parents for letting their children leave the front yard, but yet you're a terrible person and a felon for hitting and killing a child. Hashtag selfish. Okay, so let's see what the issue is here, okay? They are attacking somebody who wants to put an end to this nonsense. I mean, all she wants, she wasn't the one who instigated this. The guy at the very beginning instigated it, not her. She didn't instigate it. The guy instigated it. She's the one who she is the one who did this, not her. He was the one who did this, not her. Okay, the reason why she responded is because they are talking about her on the public page, and they're saying these things about her, and they're attacking her because she didn't, because there's these people are literally going and they're yelling at people, and they're going up to their houses and they're confronting them, and they're putting themselves in danger because what if somebody has a gun? What if someone has a knife? What if someone's gonna hit them? Like what happened in that one fight. You can't go and confront people like that. But hey, if they all want to, have the court and the police coming in and giving statements and everything, that's up to them. But you're going to say that she's a felon because she's not going to hit a kid. She's not going to do any of that. She wants them to stop acting like idiots and Karens and being a jerk and being rude and coming up and attacking people on their homes and stuff like that. I mean, they aren't the police. If they have a problem with it, call the cops and have them deal with it. Another post about, she went and copied and pasted it to the comment of of what happened about a year ago when this took place. There were these kids who were harassing me and stuff, and she had made a comment about it. She said the majority of neighbors and their children are respectful of others while outside. My son rides his bike through his neighborhood like through this neighborhood like clockwork. Most of the neighborhoods know him by sight. He's been doing this for many years. Many have come up and spoken highly of him being respectful and responsible while responding. Um, he does not bother anybody. He is always aware and cautious. Cycling is a huge part of his life, and when other children harass him by throwing rocks, water, shooting darts, or whatever else at him, he tries to ignore it, continue his riding, come home. I know that kids will be kids, but it makes me angry. Please know what your children are doing outside. Okay, so the reason why this happened was because there were kids that were throwing stuff and shucking things at. They weren't actually throwing rocks, they were throwing pine cones at me. They were literally throwing things at me. They were throwing things at me. And they were harassing me. And this wasn't, and in 2019, it's not the first time it happened. I had to deal with one kid coming up to me and, with one kid saying stuff to me over the years. It's a bunch of BS. There's no need for this kind of behavior. But yet they're going to rehab. Then what happened was, she says, get a grip, twist it any way you want. The street is not a playground for children to play in, period. Call me names, make up falsehoods, say whatever. I've never let my child play in the street. My child is not a child. He's 19, old enough to decipher when there is danger like a 5-year-old. He rides his bike, following road with yes, not perfect. I pray that he's safe. It's the chance he's willing to take to enjoy his cycling. Nobody is advocating running for children seriously. The dumb Karen. She says, okay, but you post about your kid's safety and respect on those motor roadways. So, which is it? Let's see what else. Then, Canine Cop's wife says, your child ran over my child while riding his bike years ago. Where were you to supervise him? Just stop. Now, this here really pissed me off. You're going to go and say that I hit your kid, that I ran over your child. I didn't run over your child. I hit him with my bike. And that was years ago, when I was like 15 years old. Yet you're going to rehash that, you damn Karen? Seriously. You are just a Karen. Seriously, you are. You're going to go and attack me because I ran over your child. If you had a problem with it, you could have talked with it. Yet your husband had to go and harass me for about 3 years in a row. Your husband was harassing me. Okay? He is a VBPD officer. Okay, and he's going to use his ability to go and confront me. I understand that your husband's a cop. I understand he is a canine officer and he works for the local city PD. But the thing is, your husband was completely rude to me and he was just terrible to me. He comes up to my bike. He gets up in my face. He yells at me. And you're going to say that I ran over your child. You guys are the one problems here. I've made video about you all the time when I lived in Virginia Beach. It just really ticked me off because you feel like you have the need to go and behave like that. No. So, don't you come on here and say that I'm the one who ran over saying I ran over your child. If I ran over him, that would be a different story. I just bumped him with my bike and he fell over. Okay? But after that, your husband had to get up in my face and you had to run your mouth at me all the time for the past 3 years that this happened. What is your problem, dude? But yeah, so then Chelsea Charver says, that's precisely what you're saying. We should suffer the consequence for having our children in the street. What other consequence were you referring to? And if your son got rocks thrown at him and continued cycling after then His injuries are your fault by your logic, correct? Then he said he was 18. Really? LOL. And then said, do you allow them to play on train tracks too? They don't even have train tracks in Virginia Beach. Thing I gained from this is that you are jaded. Now you don't even have, you have no tolerance of other children. And then she said he was 18. You felt the need to get on Facebook and ask people to be nice to him. But a dad getting on Facebook saying, hey, if you cannot run over my 6-year-old and be an adult in the situation, that would be nice, is bad parenting. Get over yourself. You're being a twat and a crappy neighbor. This post started and ended with the message of don't run over kids and bikes. That you had to be a jerk, and I hope you sound as powerful for what you stand for. I wasn't asking him to be nice to him. I just asked for the rock throwing to stop. If my son didn't need to get in trouble for stopping it himself. And then she said, this is not differing of opinions. You blatantly said any child on the asphalt would suffer the consequences, which we surmissed by being hit by a vehicle. You asked for people to be kind to your son who rides a bike unsupervised. And we condemn parents for having their children anywhere other than your backyard, even while supervised. I think that you may want to dismount from your high horse and realize you live in a family neighborhood where the majority of the kids live. Majority of the people look out for one. They're courteous and pleased for their neighborhoods. Okay, so listen to this. You're going to say I ride unsupervised, okay? I am a freaking adult. I mean, I take care of myself. So, you're going to tell me that I ride unsupervised? Just shove your finger up your nose. Is in a lovely neighborhood because of a Facebook spat where you are trying to justify harming children on the roadway. No, honey, if this neighborhood isn't the way it is, because of injured children on the side of the road, not from a Facebook spat. Okay, Karen, we get ya. And then she said, twisted, I've stated over and over again, I am not advocating speeding through the neighborhood or here, anywhere. The last thing I want to see is a child or animal get injured by a vehicle. That wasn't the point I was making. My point got lost, and everybody's need to defend their parenting, and everybody needs to personally attack me. So be it. I can take it. 2 wrongs don't make it right. Good night. And then she copy-pasted. Then she said, you are a true gem. A, what is your point then? Because I don't see anyone here, anyone justifying you or anyone. Their parenting, they are simply pointing out you can't run over their kids or anyone in the street. The only thing that you said that was made by logic is that you live with these people. I would suggest you be very careful with your car, because after the statements you have made, you do so much clip a bike and you will be defending, and you're going to end up in court with a lame but argument. I mean, jeez. And they said, I never the victim, I own it. Stay tuned for the margin. I've actually heard from one more neighbor that they're tired of children constantly in the road watching them. All right. Then Rhonda says, if you do not want kids to be in the neighborhood, maybe you should consider living somewhere else. It's unfortunate now your child is adult, so the rules don't apply to you. We have extended our common courtesy to move out of the way and stop for your son. We are the ones who drive under the limit, and also watch out for children. Okay. Common courtesy. So what is the common courtesy of you stopping and moving out of the way for me a common courtesy from my mom? Doesn't make any sense. I mean, yeah, you're expected to move out of the way. You're expected to move out of the way. I have the right of way when I'm trying to get around you. I mean, yeah, pedestrians have the right of way. Plain and simple. But the thing is, all right, but when you literally say that the common courtesy for me to move out of the way, that's not what it is. I mean, you have to move out of the way when I'm coming through, because I need to get past you. But what does that have to do with anything? So then Robin Boyer Angus says, now I made a comment about kids and that, about what I said, and then said, I hope you know that you and everyone else's neighbor deserve to enjoy the outdoors by whatever means you're doing. You do so by riding your bike, others do by running and riding their bikes. It's important to remember that we deserve the right to be safe in activities. And that's why we're asking people in cars, trucks, slow down. As people, we should want everybody to be safe, healthy, and safe. For those who disagree, life is a short. So what is right, and try to be decent. Kids deserve to be kids. Socialization is important. Doesn't happen in the backyard, especially with now said as family. It's important to remember. Okay, so then she says, what does she say? Let me move that out of the way. Said, you have a problem with a parent, address it face to face, promptly to solve by gossiping. Hey, I'm not the one who's gossiping here. I mean, I've literally just stated my opinion about everything. Yet you're going to attack my mom because she wants the crap to stop with them acting ridiculously aggressive. I mean, yeah, they're acting aggressive. They're going up to people's homes. They're going up to them and they're putting themselves in harm's way. Okay, they're not a cop. They don't have a radio strapped on them. They don't have a gun. They don't have a taser. They don't have pepper spray. They don't have handcuffs. They don't have a baton. They don't have a flashlight. They don't have any of that. They don't have any of that. They're not wearing an all black uniform with a badge on them and have a car that has lights on the top and, you know, they're not the police. They can't do anything about it. They don't, there's a reason why police are armed because that way if someone gets aggressive, they can handle that person, okay? You just walking up there in your tank top and flip flops ain't gonna do nothing. You're just gonna get whacked in the face and then you're gonna end up getting hit or someone's gonna run over you or someone's gonna shoot you or whatever. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, I understand that you guys want to make sure your kids are safe, but the problem is you guys are literally putting yourselves in harm's way. You don't have a radar gun. You can't go. You don't know how fast someone's going unless you're leaning over on their dashboard and looking at their speedometer. You don't know how fast someone's going. I mean, 15 miles an hour is sort of fast in that range. But I mean, seriously, and like I said, most people go 20 miles an hour in a 15 zone. Most people go 5 over. That's what I've been saying. But you're gonna tag me and say that I am the one who that I am the one who you're gonna tag me and say that I'm the one who gossiping. I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, I appreciate your giant butt lecture, but seriously, if you're that smart, why don't you become and do what Dr. Phil does? And then you can deal with it yourself. About all this before I had to get all amped up. Anyway, so going on what I was talking about, this here just gets me worked up. I mean, does it get you guys worked up? It sure gets me worked up. I mean, people, I mean, it doesn't even matter. You can be a grown full adult, be like 40, 30 years old, and yet you act like a child, like, well, come on. I mean, it's sad. But yet, what's even sadder is that people have to go on social media and they have to attack you and your family just to make you feel like crap. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, they made you feel like crap. Okay, they put this on themselves. Okay, like what I was saying about all this, you don't go and confront somebody at their house. Okay, yeah, speeding might be an issue, but unless you have a radar gun, you can't actually, um, you know, you can't actually go and, you can't actually go and yell at somebody for speeding. If you have a problem with it, call the cops and they'll take care of it. I mean, like I said, you're not these parents are not cops. They can't go up to someone's house and yell at them. And trust me, it's happened to us. I'm not going to go into details, but I talked about my canine cop video. Um, but yeah, then she says, and then the canine cop's wife says, "Oh, I'm going to be being that horse, but you said that, kids can get hit by that, and, that's their fault. I mean, kids can get hit on the road, and, Yeah, well, I don't want to be that horse, but this is really bothering me. I'm like, you know what, Canine Cop's wife, you're just a goof. You're just ridiculous. You're just a real nuisance. I mean, you and your husband have confronted me in the past. I mean, and yet you're gonna get all bothered. I mean, you and your husband have always having issues with me because of your kids being in the street. They're in my way. They cut in front of me. Then your husband has to go up and confront me over a little stupid. I'm tired of the whole nonsense. Okay, you and your husband, if you guys had a problem with me, you could have gone to my parents and you could have said, hey, Tristan's doing this, Tristan's doing that. But you don't go and confront someone else's child. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's reoccurring BS one after another. But anyway, yeah. And, which, yes, he actually did get up in my face. Um, he actually did get up in my face. He did actually confront me. He's actually, the canine cop and his wife had confronted me like a few times, like 6 times or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous. There's no reason for that kind of behavior. Anyway, but yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this. Oh, I'm on the wrong mic. Moral of the story. The moral of the story is don't act like that. I mean, I understand people, and there's a lot more people that are staying home because of COVID and everything, but there's no reason for people to go and act like that and go and behave like that. I mean, and you just saw how they attacked her. I mean, they treat her like she's the one who's been doing it. I'm like, why don't you go ahead and attack the people who are actually speeding, who are actually doing it? You know what I mean? Instead of being an absolute moron. But yeah, that's my story. Anyway, guys, thank you guys watching, and like I said, the reason why I'm gonna redo all this is because of is because of is because of, with the change, I can't talk about this person, so I have to go and redo the whole video so that way they're left out and I can explain this without having to take the video down and everything. Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, sub, and comment. I'll see you guys in another video.